One of my managers referred to my emotions as an elephant in the room because I was set over being bullied left and right and because I stood up for myself. Back then, I questioned whether the problem really was me, but as I observed, I realized that there were several other colleagues that were a victim of this manager's disrespectful demeanor. If you have experienced something similar at work or in private relationships, chances are that the person that thinks your emotions are an elephant in the room has a difficulty identifying how others are feeling, what their needs are, so that they can conduct themselves accordingly. Empathy is the basic regulator of social relations, and failure in empathetic understanding can create problems. The reasons why one might fail in understanding how others are feeling, what their needs are, what their state of mind is, can be different. The most likely cause is childhood, what kind of attachment one had as a child, and what kind of environment one grew up in. But there can also be other reasons. For example, stress can be quite a big factor. If one has a lot to do, one might not have energy enough for picking up on cues. In the worst case, low empathy can depend on one's conscious choice to ignore others' feelings and state of mind, and this is something a manipulative person might do. No matter why a manager's empathy is lacking, it can have detrimental impact on the employees' well-being, their performance, as well as on the overall organizational culture and the company's turnover. Empathy is a vital leadership competency that allows a leader to see matters from another's perspective, as well as to relate to other people's experiences. If you're a manager who lacks in empathy, you may have a hard time understanding what other people, your employees, might be feeling or thinking, and you may also have a difficulty predicting their behavior and reaction in certain scenarios, which can complicate relationships as well as make it difficult to accomplish the results towards which the company is striving. Here's a few tips on how to recognize an unempathetic manager/leader, as well as recommendations for how you can practice empathy towards your employees as a manager if you recognize yourself in one of the points that I'm about to list. I've observed that unempathetic managers/leaders are oftentimes narcissistic people who think they're better and more important than everybody else in the room. This results in them ignoring other people's concerns and recommendations about factual matters that can be decisive for the company. If you're a manager, try to validate other people's concerns. When you think about the concern or recommendation given by your employee, after some time you might come to a conclusion that it is a better way to do it, but you might also come to a conclusion that your thinking and your reasoning is the optimal one in this specific case. So in that case, you will at least have given your employee a sense of I and my opinions matter, and you will encourage this employee to come to you many times in the future should any concerns occur. Unempathetic managers/leaders are selectively empathetic, meaning that they will show care, concern, and understanding for the feeling, state of mind, and mistakes of their employees, peers, and colleagues selectively. Hierarchy and status play a big role here. The higher the status and influence of the person in question, the more caring and understanding the unempathetic leader will be. For example, they may show more care and understanding and concern for someone who is superior to them, while they might not give a damn about the feelings of their subordinates. And that is a big problem. Subordinates are the cogwheels that keep the engine running. Without them, you wouldn't have an organization to run. So it is in your interest to make sure they run at their best capacity, and not giving a damn about their feelings is not the way to do it. The key to juggling empathy issues related to hierarchy is a genuine sense of democracy and equality. Once you start thinking that you should be treating both a janitor and a president with equal, utter respect, you will be on the right track towards treating your organizational members with equal empathy. Unempathetic managers might not be the best listeners. True empathetic listening is difficult for most of the population, and I will talk about this in a different video, but unempathetic managers will instantly jump to a defense mode once an employee utters criticism or concern about something that they're responsible for, that the manager is responsible for. It could be their management style or something that the manager has messed up. The unempathetic manager will do their best to invalidate the employee's concerns and criticism to make sure that they don't appear to be in the wrong. They have a hard time admitting that they are wrong. It can even develop into pointing fingers and somehow finding a way to blame this specific employee instead of themselves or another employee. An empathetic manager will listen to reply, not to hear you out. If you're a manager, exposing yourself to conflicting opinions about you could be a good exercise for practicing empathetic listening. You could use help of your family, for example, people who you feel comfortable with opening up, showing yourself flawed, people whose company makes you feel safe. You can ask these people to bring up something that you do that they think could be done better, and really try to hear them out and see their perspective, where they're coming from. This can help you retain the same kind of composed attitude when you receive criticism from an employee, instead of becoming defensive or pointing fingers. I want to point out that there is a difference between someone attacking you and someone expressing their concern. Here I'm talking about someone expressing their concern and you listening. The problems I have listed till now have a detrimental impact on trust within the organization. The solutions that I have suggested, on the other hand, can help you create an environment where employees feel that they can come to you anytime with anything and you will be there for them, focused on the solution, no matter what. These 3 solutions that I have suggested are by no means enough. I will be making another video where I will be talking about several other important aspects that you need to incorporate in your management style in order to transform into an empathetic leader. As this series of videos continues, I will also talk about the flip side of empathetic leadership, which is being too empathetic, and I'll teach you where to place the limit for being empathetic as a leader. In the meanwhile, follow my newsletter, my LinkedIn newsletter, E.MOTION, and my YouTube channel with the same name, to keep up with insights regarding empathy, emotional intelligence, and mental health at work and in everyday life.